He's on the verge of making history. 34-year-old Josh Herrin is on the cusp of winning his second Superbike title of his career. His first 11 years ago. That stat alone will break records. But this one rider stands in his way. And in order to keep this championship alive, no matter what Herrin does, Beaubier has to win. Anything else, and it's game over. Herrin is crowned champ. How will this unfold? The penultimate race of the 2024 season is here, and it begins right now. It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship, our 10th anniversary season. This round is MotoAmerica Superbikes at New Jersey. In our final round for 2024, from Millville, New Jersey at NJMP, also known as New Jersey Motorsports Park. Steel Commander Superbike Race 1 coming up, and so much online, so much at stake for this championship, as Josh Herrin has done all the work that he needed to do this season and put himself in a fine position. Well, welcome everyone to the broadcast, and welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, here we are, Josh Herrin. He's got like 4 fingers on the trophy at this point. It's so close, and he must be so happy.
Yeah, and really, I think, Greg, when you look back at this season, we're going to look back at that ridge where he got no points in that rain race, but then he went to Laguna determined, and he won that second one, and from there on, he's ridden superb. And what you said at the top of our show, 11 years between Superbike championships, that's really quite a feat for this young man who we've seen with different rides, different bikes over the years, so he's on the cusp.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the stuff that Josh Herrin has been up to over the years, Jason. As you know, he's had 5 wins and 12 podiums and 8 consecutive podiums, and that's really been the push.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that they've not just been podiums, Greg, have they? They've been wins. We've seen this guy win races, and that's been the important thing. Even at COTA the last round, he pushed all the way after doing the double at Mid-Ohio, and he wasn't handing this thing over to anybody at all. So going into today, into this final race of the season, he's going to be lining up 4th on the grid, and you can see here he's the 4th rider with 2 AMA Superbike titles, and those are some pretty big names he's around.
Wayne Rainey, Eddie Lawson, and Wes Cooley are the only other 3 riders that have 2 titles to their credit. But Jay, we talked about it. It's the longest time between his first, which was all the way back in 2013, and his most current, if he can get it done. And of course, there's still 2 races to go, but the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa, is under the sunshine here in Jersey with Josh Herrin.
A big day for Josh Herrin. So many friends and family surrounding him. Josh, a lot of emotions being on the verge of this championship. Take us through it. What are you feeling?
A lot. I don't know what to feel right now. It's, you know, I'm definitely stressed out. A little bit of nerves going on. I'm anxious. I'm happy. You know, excited to get over with. So, yeah, a lot going on right now. It's, yeah, I don't know. just trying my best to just focus and try and get a good start. And, you know, about 10 lap point, just kind of like look at it and see what we got to do to just wrap it up. That's all I really care about right now. I don't care about trying to prove anything right now. I just want to go out, do my job, and yeah, bring Ducati back a championship.
Best of luck out there, Josh. You know, I really appreciate the honesty there. It's not very often you hear a rider tell you that he's anxious or that he's nervous. One more rider I want to talk to, starting from the first position, taking a photo here, Loris Baz. Incredible qualifying time by you this weekend. I know there's a lot on the line for your teammate. If it comes down to it, are you going to go for the win, or are you going to let him win the championship with a win?
He's going to win the championship. I'm not worried for him, you know. I think he can finish 11 with 1 hand and 1 leg, so I'm not worried. Yeah, just focusing on my race. Just want to have a lot of fun this weekend. You know, we had a great weekend, great season, and just want to, can't believe it's already the last round, so I just want to enjoy this as much as possible. Big weekend for Ducati, Warhorse, and the Chase BK 30 years after Troy Corso, so it's gonna be cool to see Josh wrapping it up today, and yeah, trying to do my best to join him in the Parc Fermé.
Best of luck, Baz, looking to get his first podium in MotoAmerica on the Superbike, guys.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, if he could get his first win, and it looks like Brandon Posh, they're working on the Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki that's sitting on the front row. His best qualifying position, Jason Pridmore, of his entire Superbike career. And now
spring change.
Yeah, spring change. That's a bit of a gamble. Quite possibly. All right, let's take a look at New Jersey Motorsports Park and what these riders are going to have to contend with here in just a few moments as we have 20 laps on deck. So New Jersey Motorsports Park is 2.25 miles long. It goes clockwise, and it has some really cool spots, including up and down, plenty of places to pass. But with the new asphalt, the one key section is between 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It's a lot less technical. Riders can put it in different parts of the racetrack, and it definitely separates some riders from the others. But Jason, that's an overhead view of New Jersey Motorsports Park. Take a look at our Insta 360 track lap and give us a more detailed look.
Yeah, you're going to see us coming down that front straightaway. I believe we're riding with Cameron Beaubier right here, and this is going to be down into turn 1. Here's a little bit of that elevation you talked about going up over the top of turn 2. You actually can't see the exit as you tip into that. Then you come down here into turn 3. You can see this is in one of our sessions where the weather wasn't perfect. It's been a little bit rainy and stuff, as it does do that here in New Jersey. This is that little chicane. Look at the eyes looking up the track, Greg. Always looking forward, and this is going to be coming up over another little rise into the fast kink, which is turn 4, and then hard braking into 5, another spot that we talk about getting the bike slowed down here, but this is a passing spot that we always talk about. This is the exit now. We're going to go a little bit further. This is going to be through that section you were talking about. When you say technical, Greg, New Jersey Motorsports Park, with that repave, it does some great things. We don't have as many pavement imperfections, not as much sealer and patches and things, so that's really nice. This is going to be the rundown into the last corner under the bridge. This is 4th gear on a Superbike, and in the dry, that's a very, very fast corner as they come onto the front straightaway.
All right, so thanks, Cameron Beaubier, for that. We appreciate that. It's the 360 track lap. So for Brandon Posh and his team, they got that suspension change done. He's ready to get racing as we are only 4 minutes away from a race start.
Still with you here live at New Jersey Motorsports Park. One of the things we saw out there on the grid were those changes for Brandon Posh. And Roger, as soon as you saw it, you said, man, as a rider, that stresses you out.
Yeah, you just, you know, there something might happen, or they figured out they wanted to change. But as a rider, right before the grid, you see your mechanics rushing like that, and you start thinking, man, I hope they don't, miss something. But for Brandon, he has a great team, Vision M4 Suzuki team. They got a really good crew, so you hate seeing the rush and the panic like that, but they got it together, and Brandon's had a great weekend so far, qualifying on the front row.
Yeah, that was a great qualifying effort for him. As you look at Josh Herron, they're sitting on the second row, 46-point lead coming into this race today. And Loris Baz here on the warm-up lap with all of the confidence that he has in his teammates, saying, I think Josh could finish 11th with one arm and one leg.
And I would have to agree, and especially the way Josh is riding this year. But, and even with Josh interviewing him, he knows he has a 46-point lead, but as a rider, you start telling yourself all the things that can go wrong. I can crash, bike break, this could happen, and you just start naming every single thing possible in your head that could go wrong. And for Josh, this is going to be the longest 20 laps of his life. It's going to be the longest 20 laps. It's going to feel like 100. He's going to start thinking the bike's making weird noises and things like that. But Josh has won titles, and I think once the light goes out, he's just going to focus on that race, and a lot of that other stuff's going to go away.
We saw that long game mentality come from him, though, in the 3 races at Circuit of the Americas where he didn't have to win, and he didn't push it. Yeah,
and then you went to race 3 at COTA, and with the big points lead, and he put on a show and was taking a lot of big risks trying to wrap it up that day. And this is just such a huge weekend for Josh and Ducati and the year that they've put together. I know Josh loves his team, and he really wants to deliver them their first Superbike championship.
26 riders out there on the grid for this Steel Commander Superbike race number 1. Let's get ready for racing and go back to Greg and Jason.
Steel Commander Superbike coverage is brought to you by Steel Commander Corps, a leading steel building manufacturer offering expertise, innovation, and a dedication to quality. By Yuasa Battery, manufacturing in the USA since 1979. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
All right, we're back. Loris Baz, Cameron Beaubier, and Brandon Posh starting from the front row with Herron, Peterson, Xavi Forés, JD Beach, Bobby Fong, Sean Dillon Kelly on row number 3 as bikes are going in gear. Look at the upper left-hand part of your screen. You're going to see those red lights go on and off. 20 laps scheduled for Steel Commander Superbike race number 1. Revs are up, clutches are out, and we're heading down to turn number 1. Wow.
Beaubier and Posh got great starts. As you see the yellow helmet of Herron, Cam Peterson is going to go down the inside of everybody, though, and take the lead, Greg, as he gets it swapped back now. Beaubier goes, I think it's Beaubier.
That's Xavi Forés.
Xavi Forés. Xavi and Cam Peterson at the front.
So Xavi Forés on the Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha Racing. Our Yamaha R1 took the lead for a moment, but his teammate Cameron Peterson on the 45 takes over the spot. Cameron Beaubier, Tytler Cycles BMW in 3rd spot. And there's a Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki of Brandon Posh in 4th spot.
Yeah, I was looking at the yellow helmet of Josh Herron just to see where he would filter in, and I saw that other yellow helmet of Xavi Forés go through. So Cam Peterson at the front, as you say, Greg, and you can see Posh and Baz Posh got a great launch, but just kind of got swallowed up on the run down to turn 1. Baz now trying to look at his way through, as he looks like he's trying to go around the outside of Posh, up in that turn 8, 9, 10 area here.
Yeah, he's going underneath now. Is your pole sitter, Loris Baz, the 76. So looks like he's going to take over 4th spot. So for Loris Baz on the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati, he's going to launch onto the back of Cameron Beaubier. Onto the front straightaway they go. As the Yamahas battle, we're looking at the battle for 3rd. Down into turn number 1 on the brakes is Xavi Forés. He's going to go up the inside of his teammate and take over the lead. So a good run from the Spaniard, filling in for the injured Jake Gagne, who missed the last couple races of the season.
And look at Loris Baz. Loris Baz goes through on Cam Beaubier in between turn 1 and 2. Loris has been extremely fast here all weekend, and he has made quick work of about 2 or 3 guys on this first lap. As you can see, Bobby Fong up there behind Josh Herron. So that's going to be as far back as 7th place right now. So Beaubier in 4th. Bobby Fong goes stuffing it up the inside, trying to go 2 for 1. He gets by Herron, doesn't quite get past Beaubier.
Really shocking stuff from Cameron Beaubier. Things aren't going his way at the moment, but for Josh Herron, they are. The first tick of the box goes to a clean start. And now, as this race continues to wear on, we're going to expect things to stream out ever so slightly. But all eyes on Xavi Forés. A 124.949. What a fast lap from a standing start. As Xavi Forés, Jason, went 124.2 in qualifying. He was only 7/10 off of his best qualifying time in interesting conditions, but nonetheless.
These are the best conditions we've had on the weekend by far, so it's not even been close. And you can see Bobby Fong now. He's going to work on Cameron Beaubier as he gets into the draft of that Tytler's BMW in the background there. As you can see, Baz has closed down to the leaders. Bobby Fong with the quickest lap of the race at a 22.5. So Bobby's obviously got pace. As you can see, the front 5. You can see Beaubier running really wide there, and he's going to lose a spot there as well. So that's the same spot we saw Baz go through in between turns 1 and 2. That time for Beaubier, it looked like a bit of a struggle. And for Herron now, he can see that the number 6 is obviously struggling just a little bit as Escalante now draws up onto the back of Josh Herron.
Yeah, Escalante got around hometown hero Brandon Posh as he starts to drift backwards. So the Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzukis are behind Josh Herron. They know what's at stake in this championship. They definitely don't want to make any crazy moves as Forés goes wide.
Yep.
So he'll relegate that lead to the 45 of Cameron Peterson.
Yeah, that downhill turn 6, Greg, is tricky. It goes away from you, so you can get in there and you can feel like everything's under you. But then if the bike starts to push a little bit wide, that's what we saw there from Xavi. And you can see that lead quartet now has broke away just a little bit from 5th place as Bobby Fong is really looking like he's ready to come forward. We've seen him already win races this year on that Wrench Motorcycles R1. And when things are working well for the 50, he can just flow, Greg. But let's see, does Baz have anything down the front straightaway for either one of the Yamahas in front, as we have 3 Yamaha R1s in the first 4 spots.
Down to the front straightaway with 17 laps to go. It's processional. Cameron Peterson leads us into 1 with his teammate Forés behind him. Those are a pair of Attack Performance Progressive Yamahas.
Herron now has gone through on Beaubier as well. So Josh Herron is going to feel really confident, Greg. And I think at this point, he's got such a big points lead, and knowing what he has seen from the number 6 of Beaubier, that's going to give Herron a lot of confidence. Don't rule him out of trying to go after this win, because right now he's got such a big lead that he can go ahead and make some of those passes. You see Baz go up the inside there of Chavi as well, but that was the pass on the left-hand side of your screen of Peterson over Chavi there in turn 6. But Baz has worked his way up into second place. Bobby Fong looks like he's starting to size up that number 34 as well.
16.5 laps to go in our Steel Commander Superbike race number 1, our penultimate race of the season. As Josh Herron, the number 2, on the Warhorse HSBK racing bike, trying to wrap up his championship. He told Hannah, I'm going to chill, let it unfold. But we know one thing about Josh Herron. He needs to have the rapid pace to feel in the flow. Sometimes, Jay, if you slow down too much as a rider, you can start to do things wrong. Like you can start making mistakes. So Herron's got to get in the flow. Now Baz comes onto the front straightaway. He's stalking Cam Peterson, and there goes Loris Baz up the inside on the 45, and the Frenchman will take over the lead in Steel Commander Superbike race number 1 on his hunt for his first Steel Commander Superbike MotoAmerica race victory.
And you said it, Greg. We haven't seen this guy win, and I think there's a lot of people, including himself, that felt that that first win would have been his by now. But what better way to do it than right here at New Jersey Motorsports Park in the final race of the season. Also behind, you can see Bobby Fong on the right side of your screen. He sizes up forwards and goes by. On the left-hand side, this is the pass for the lead just now. And look back a little further. Herron took a stab at Bobby Fong as well, going down in there. Now he's got Chavi Flores ahead of him. And yeah, Chavi just going back a little bit. But you can see it's bringing everybody back into play. Beaubier now closing up onto the back of Herron. And then you have those Vision Wheel M4 XR Suzukis of Escalante and Posture. How about Sean Dillon Kelly? We haven't talked about him much this week. He comes from the third row as Bobby Fong goes up underneath Cam Peterson. So Bobby Fong and Baz have shown that they have the pace. Herron this time through, I believe, will be able to draft past one or maybe even both of these bikes just in front of him at the moment.
How much is Herron going to risk for this championship? If it's going to be easy, he's definitely going for it. Fong onto the front straightaway. Wrench Motorcycles, Yamaha R1. That's a program that is dramatically different in terms of their setup from the Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha team as Chavi goes around his teammate. Cam Peterson fighting back. All the while, Herron's sitting right there too, so he's going to ease by Chavi Flores. So Herron now aggressively moving up into fourth place. Not much of a risky pass, but a nice one.
He went so tight into the last corner because he had such a good run through the S's that it prevented him from getting too close to those guys when they came onto the straight. Look at Bobby Fong. He's going to take a shot right now at Loris Baz. So Baz, as he was going forward, was probably a little bit surprised to see the 50 now work his way by as they're going to go down into turn 6 side by side. Got to give a little room there as Baz does. This should help that battle for third start to close back up. As you can see, Herron there has made that pass clean in off of Chavi Flores. He's in fourth place now.
Incredible racing in this race number 1 for Steel Commander Superbike. With a championship on the line for Josh Herron, most people feel that it's up to Josh to get it done. So it's all about just throwing caution to the wind and going for it. As Cameron Peterson, oh, now we have a rider off the racetrack. That's number 94,
yep.
Danilo Lewis.
Yeah, that bike's not looking like it wants to go very too much further. Let's see if Herron can do anything with Cam Peterson as they come onto this front straightaway.
Side by side they go.
Baz
pass for the lead again. So that's now your fourth lead change of this race so far. And Bobby Fong obviously showing superior speed when straightaways aren't involved on his Yamaha R1. And you can see that Cam Peterson able to hold off Herron for third place for the moment with 14 laps to go in Steel Commander Superbike race number 1. Now Loris Baz is doing an awesome job, but he's having to fight for it.
He certainly is, and he's always up for the task, but especially after they resolve the clutch issue that they've been having in Austin for this weekend. He told me he was not pushing 100% in those mixed conditions that we saw, so really happy to have a dry racetrack out in front of him and no other riders out in front of him. As far as getting his first win, we've talked about it so much with him this season over and over, and really, he's been so patient. He knows that it will come with time. He's not feeling a sense of urgency to get it done. But when I talked to him earlier today, he was in really good spirits, and we both said, you know, maybe today could be the day.
Yeah, it definitely could. And with Cameron Peterson running off the, or almost off the racetrack and relegating third position to Josh Herrin, it's going to be easier for Baz, but
Look
Bobby
who's right
Fong
behind him.
is not giving him up.
Cam Beaubier is right behind Herrin now as well, so he's finding his flow. Let's look at this lap, Greg. 21.9, fastest lap of the race. 21.8 from Cam Beaubier on the 6 BMW. You see him just there behind Herrin now. So not exactly sure what happened to Cam Peterson up there in that 7, 8, 9 area, but something happened to him and Chavi that lap, because both riders were in the 23s. 23.8 for Cam Peterson, 23.3 for Chavi Flores.
Different tire choices from Dunlop as well. Looking at Loris Baz, he's running the R7 front, R7 rear. For Bobby Fong, he's running the R5 front. You can see that there's some of the riders are going to have that green band on their front tire, and that's going to indicate that it's a slightly softer compound in the R5 versus the R7. So it's really between R5 fronts and R7 fronts. Everybody in the top 9 are running all the same rear tire, the R7. So for Cameron Peterson, number 45 is Cam Beaubier, 21.854. Fastest lap of the race for the number 6 as he tries to figure it out. Things are getting tight up front. Boy, can you imagine if Josh Herrin is able to get by the number 50 Bobby Fong? Would he deny his teammate a race victory?
Yeah, this third sector, I saw Cam Beaubier make a mistake there. So Josh Herrin goes fastest third split of the race at a 23.8. Half a second he gained on Beaubier. And now he's in the draft with Bobby Fong as they come down the front straightaway. Let's see if he tries to make this bid for second. He is going to make that pass on Bobby Fong. Now you have a Warhorse Ducati 1 and 2. And I'll tell you, Greg, 21.6 for Josh Herrin. Fastest lap of the race. This is what he has done towards the end of the season that has impressed me so much. He's out there racing and doing what he has done to get himself here. He's up there trying to win races. Points are going to take care of themselves, Greg. If you're up there winning races and getting up on that podium every weekend, championships will be taken care of. And that's what he's doing now. He's riding very relaxed. He's got his teammate ahead of him, and he's just looking forward.
Well, Jay, let's talk about the psyche of these racers. I mean, you know, you've been in this position before with championships on the line. The feeling that you get before the race versus the feeling you get when the visor goes down and the clutch goes out, totally different.
Yeah, I think that experience plays a huge key as well, but it's hard to imagine as JD Beach has a problem. It looks like he's maybe gone down, Greg, somewhere as he's trying to get that bike restarted, that second Tytler's bike. But yeah, you go back to the mental side of things, and it's for Josh Herrin, I think that's one of the biggest things he's had to overcome in his career, listening to how he talks. And if you heard him on the grid there, how honest he is with Hannah, and I thought it was a great interview that Hannah did with him. I'm nervous. I don't know what to expect, and this and that. But once that visor goes down for Herrin, he only knows one way of doing things, and that's to win as he looks to get by his teammate.
Well, Jason, for Josh Herrin, he was pretty honest with me earlier, too. He said he doesn't care at all where he finishes today as long as he wraps up the podium. You did hear him in that grid interview say around the half point of the race, he's going to look, assess and see where things are and then go from there. But it's looking like he could win the championship with a win if he plays his cards right.
He could. However, Josh is also a very kind of giving guy, and if Bobby Fong wasn't here right now, I wouldn't think that Josh would push by his teammate and deny him a win. I mean, you know, to stand on the podium with his teammate, they have gotten along so well as first-year teammates, Baz and Herrin on that Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team. I've talked about the team culture and what they've been able to cultivate between the crew, Araldo Faraci, the entire team. It's such a nice pod of people that are in that team, and they have so much fun, and they joke and they laugh as they go around. Looks like Max Flinders is up and out of the seat getting lap traffic, but Bobby Fong is not going to give it to him by any stretch of the imagination. He's out for one thing, is the 50, and that's to win here in New Jersey.
Yeah, you know, and you're right about Bobby, but the other thing to be said is for Herrin, if he sees +0 on his board more and more and more, you know, to grind out, you see how a little bit out of shape there. I think if he can get into the front and push his own win and do what he wants to do, he knows that Loris isn't going to do anything silly behind him. This is the spot where he's trying to get by Baz. He's going to make that pass down into turn 1, and he knows the friendly fire coming from behind is not going to come from his teammate, and he's capable of running fast laps. So for Herrin, this is the safest place for him to be right now, and that's out front.
There you go, and that's what it's down to, as Herrin is just in the flow. And we've talked about it for many years. Sometimes for certain riders, for most riders, if you start to slow down the pace you're capable of doing, the pace that your bike's able to do, the pace that your brain is able to do, that's when you open up the opportunity for mistakes to happen. But Cameron Beaubier hasn't given up the ghost yet. He goes 22.562, his personal best in sector number 1. Here comes the number 6 of Cameron Beaubier on the Tytler Cycle BMW.
We've seen him fall back a couple times, and that's what you just got to love about Cam Beaubier. He's never out of it, is he, Greg? I mean, we've called his races for years, and there's times where it looks like he's losing touch. But look what's happening here at the front. Josh Herrin has his head down. He just has to grind out the middle part of this race. When you are looking at your board now and you start seeing L5, which means 5 laps to go and that kind of thing, he will catch another second win. He'll be so focused on hitting his marks and just trying to bring this number 2 home. And there's no better way of doing it than to do it this way that he's doing it right now. He's going to look back over his shoulders, you saw there, have a little peek to see if he was able to pull away, which he was. Now, here's this big battle for 4th. You got Cam Peterson and Xavi Flores there with SDK, the 2 M4 Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki bikes there. And then just on the back, how about this? Benjamin Smith, Greg, riding amazing right now on that 78. This is a battle for 4th all the way back to 10th. Really good to see Benjamin Smith tagging onto the back of Superbike guys that he probably hasn't had the opportunity to race against before. Pretty close there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looked like Rich Escalante would have had a run up the tailpipe, as now Bobby Fong has gotten around Loris Baz to take over second spot. So Bobby Fong, if he's got the speed, he's not giving this to Josh Herrin at all. Front of the race, Steel Commander Superbike race number 1. We had 8.5 laps to go scheduled in this race. Josh Herrin, your championship points leader, the possibility of him wrapping up this championship, as we see on the left part of your screen, Fong's pass for second place.
Does a really nice job of using the exit there of turn 4, setting out R1 up to the inside, and you can see the 2 guys at the front are definitely starting to pull away from 3rd and 4th place. Herrin's extremely quick through that 3rd split, 2nd and 3rd split specifically. And as he comes onto the front straightaway now, he's not going to know that it's not his teammate there unless they've got that on his board, that the number 50 is the guy behind him. Look how much tighter Bobby can go into turn 1. He does that pretty routinely. I've seen him do that the whole race. He gets off into there really deep and just starts to diagonalize his way off into turn 1 there. Little different lines, but I think if he's going to do it, Greg, he's going to do it safely. These guys have had some history, but Bobby doesn't want to get, in the mix of a championship fight between 2 guys. So let's see if he does the same thing here. Watch him straight line that R1 on the exit of here and try to get himself set up to the inside. Not close enough that time, but that might have just been like a little test run for the next lap.
For Bobby Fong, 2 wins so far this season, 5 Superbike wins in his Steel Commander Superbike career. Going for number 6 all-time for the California native, Bobby Fong. He's stalking Josh Herrin. Josh Herrin is out front, like Jason said, controlling the pace the way he wants to. It is the safest spot on the racetrack for Herrin, unless you have Bobby Fong behind you. And again, Jay,
a little bit wide.
A little bit wide for Herrin, but the tight lines that Fong is able to handle. But onto the front straightaway they're going to come. This next corner, here they come through the right-hander onto the front straightaway. Searching for traction is Josh Herrin.
Look how tight Bobby is there, too. Bobby's able to get in there a little bit tight, not sacrifice speed. Now Herrin's going to know it's Bobby Fong behind him because he just had to look over his shoulder there. And this is what I'm talking about with Bobby. You see him just duck down the inside. Looks like he wants to have a shot, but he's not quite close enough there. I think if he does it all, he wants to win for this Wrench Motorcycle team as well. So, as you said earlier, and I think that for Bobby, his best shot is going to be turn 5.
Yeah, and for Josh Herrin, his fastest lap of the race was a 1:21.644. They've dropped it down to the 22.4s. So if Fong feels like he's got that extra second underneath the hood, he's definitely going to go for it. But Herrin is really difficult to pass. But you can see that the pace that Herrin has allowed Baz to stay in contact, as well as Cameron Beaubier.
Herrin opens that up a little bit, but he's faster than most guys in there. He lets the bike get over to the right to swing it back to the left. Bobby's been able to make that pass on everybody he has looked at so far. So that tells me that Herrin just gets the bike over to the right, lets go of that lever, and carries a lot of roll speed through the middle of that turn 5 area. So for Bobby, even though that looks like the spot he can do it, he's got to, I think, give himself a little room in going into turn 4 so that he can roll up on him a little bit more in the middle of turn 4 and try to pass him into 5.
Josh Herrin, the number 2, Bobby Fong 50, Loris Baz 76, and Cameron Beaubier number 6, our top 4, as Herrin has another long look over his shoulder, and he sees the 50
there he
as
goes.
Fong goes right around him. And it looked like Herrin might have made that decision to see what Fong's going to do. He doesn't want to get caught up in that. So Fong to the front. He'll take over with 6 laps to go.
The main thing that Herrin did here, though, if you notice, Greg, is with those 4 or 5 laps, 4 laps that he led, he separated these 4 really from everybody else. Because now, when you start to think about where Beaubier is in 4th. He's got 6 seconds over the guys behind. Now Herrin, if he chooses so and wants to let his teammate, try to win the race, or he might size Bobby up going into the final lap of the race and try to figure out a way to win it from the front as well. So he's getting a chance now to look and see what the number 50 has over him, and he'll see, and he'll be able to gauge if the pace slows down enough, if he wants to try to either make a decision to win this race or maybe give his teammate a chance to go through and try to go chase Bobby down himself.
The other thing that Josh Herrin is creating by being in the position he's in is a race where he's not all alone on the racetrack. He's not hearing things going wrong with the bike or not losing focus. And I think this is a great strategy from Josh Herrin. He knew he had the pace to run with these top 4, and he's put himself in a great place on the racetrack as his teammate Loris Baz with a little mistake in that right-hander. Bike moving around, Herrin on the gas onto the front straightaway, and Bobby Fong looking for a little daylight. But we know here at New Jersey Motorsports Park that generally the rider behind is going to have an advantage of closing the gap, whether it's gauging the drive onto the front straightaway or also using the draft maneuver.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see it almost looked to me that time when they went down. Herrin did have a look over his shoulder again, saw Baz. Almost looked like he set up a little bit early and was trying to let Baz go by in the first turn. That's why that gap is as big as it is now between Bobby and Herrin. So we'll see if they can close that gap back down right now as Bobby Fong just goes fastest first split of the race. A 22.4 to everybody else's 22.6 and 22.8. So he was almost half a second quicker in that first split than the guys you see there in 3rd and 4th. Herrin's still trying to go with him and hang on to them just a little bit, but you can see Herrin has dropped the hammer on this lap, and he's starting to splinter this little group up as well. Herrin really looks like the only guy that can go with him.
Tip of the cap to the Wrench Motorcycles crew. One of the things you talked about, Jay, is that this is unusual conditions for what we've had so far this weekend. The sun is shining, the track is getting temperature in it. There's been rubber laid down by other motorcycles on the track, and so a lot of these teams had to take an educated guess on their setup and tire choice.
Yeah, look at this guy, 28.3. Bobby goes 28.3 in the 3rd split, only to be bettered just slightly by Herrin. Herrin has not given this up at all, and now he's going to see with 4 laps to go, and the fact that he's able to close that gap back down. He's also going to notice that he's probably got a little bit bigger gap on his teammate behind him. Bobby's splintering this group up like we said, and you can see I think that's Manny Segura just getting out of the way as they head down into the chicane here. And Bobby with that last lap, a 21.790, only a 10th off of his quickest lap. The first 2 guys are the only 2 that were in the minute 21 bracket that last time through.
So looking at Bobby Fong, the veteran, Wrench Motorcycles, Yamaha R1, races multiple classes, a subject of Pressure to Rise, the series for MotoAmerica that launched on Friday. Definitely go check that out and learn more about Bobby Fong and behind the scenes of Fong and his mentality. But Josh Herrin holding right onto his back wheel, and you kind of get the feeling that Herrin's comfortable at this point and wants to time this. Not get in a fight with Bobby Fong necessarily. Not have to go back and forth, but maybe just wait until he feels like he's got enough pace to actually break free of Fong, or wait till the last lap and make that last lap pass.
Well, you can imagine probably all the things that Josh is going through his brain and the stuff that he's thinking about at the moment. And I really do believe if it would be a thing like this, where if he could come out of that last corner, he sees now that Bobby's pulling him away from that battle behind him. And as it looks like Baz, though, goes 21.7, does Loris Baz. He does his fastest lap of the race. So Baz not done yet either. You can see Beaubier there with a 21.9. So all 4 riders that time through were all in the minute 21 range again. So fast times coming late.
21.644 on lap number 8 is the fastest lap of the race by Josh Herrin, and he just went 21.8. Less than 0.2 of a second off. And now Cameron Beaubier just goes sector 1 fastest time at a 22.466 from all these riders. But as the fuel load drops off, as they start more used to, keep in mind, this track was freshly paved So this is the first time at race distance that any of these riders have had a chance to test how these Dunlops are going to grip. There's been some classes where we've seen some abrasion, but for the most part, Dunlop has done a great job of bringing a tire that's been able to handle the new asphalt here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Only a couple corners to go, and we're going to have 2 laps to go as Bobby Fong continues to lead. Josh Herrin, Loris Baz, Cameron Beaubier in the top 4.
Yeah, and I think, again, they have pulled them out. They've pulled away from that battle, not really a battle, but Loris Baz there back in 3rd. Herrin has another look over his shoulder, so he's taking in a lot of information right now. And it looks like he's going to try to go by Bobby, and he does. He squeezes down the inside of Bobby Fong, controls the apex speed, so Bobby can't cut it back up underneath him. So now it's all fight on. So maybe Herrin feels like he's got some pace as we have. This is going to be one of the battles for 5th. This is out of the last corner, Greg. This is going to be a very, very fast crash for Brandon Posh.
Wow. From a front row start to sitting in the kitty litter. Hopefully Posh is going to be okay, but the Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki rider is down. Back to the front we go. A little bit over a lap and a half to go. Josh Herrin, the number 2, leading the way on that Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati with the championship. So close, a lap and a half away. Herrin goes sector 2 fastest split, Jason, 18.173. And Herrin, being this close to the front, wants to put a stamp on this championship, and he doesn't want any question marks like he has posed for himself for his 2013 championship. This is a championship that Josh Herrin wants to look back on and say, I grabbed it. I was the one who won it, and he is showing us how it's done today.
Yeah, right now, this is what he is. You're exactly right, Greg. He wants to go out with a win, does Josh Herrin. He comes out of this last corner. He's going to see the white flag. He sees that those guys aren't right behind him. He's going to have his head down as he goes 21.602. Fastest lap of the race for number 2, Josh Herrin. And right now, Greg, he's got more than one hand on this trophy. He's just got to try to put this together for the remaining, let's say, last minute of the race. Bobby Fong trying to close up on him, and I know where this pass is going to be tried. If Bobby's going to do it at all, it's going to be after this fast right that we're going to be coming into right now. Turn 4 into 5. Herrin right now, though, has a big enough gap. Let's see if Bobby can pull that gap in a little bit. I don't think he's going to be close enough.
After setting the fast lap of the race at a 21.602 by Josh Herrin, 19 laps into a 20-lap race. Herrin holding off the advances of Bobby Fong, hard on the gas. This is a rider who won his first Steel Commander Superbike Championship in 2013. 11 years later, sits on the cusp of winning his latest championship. The longest margin was Matt Mladen, the great Matt Mladen from 99 to 09, who's in attendance this weekend, who's looking on at Josh Herrin, who's going to break that streak of 10 years from first to last. With a couple corners to go, Josh Herrin on the cusp of history. It's been a long time in the making, a career up and down since he began his MotoAmerica professional career years ago. And here comes the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati rider onto the front straightaway, takes the checkered flag and the national championship.
Wow, what a way to do it. What a way to do it. And this is going to be the battle for 5th between Cam Peterson. It looks like Richie Escalante has actually got 5th. He's pulled away from this battle between Cam Peterson and SDK. Cam finishes 6th, SDK 7. You see Chavi Forrest there in 8th. Benjamin Smith, what a run from him to finish 9th. Ashton Yates is going to round out your top 10.
So Josh Herrin does it from the front position. 30 years since Ducati has won a national championship here in the United States. And their guy, Josh Herrin, coming off of a national championship from 2 years ago in Supersport on the V2 for this Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team, just put his foot down and is able to wrap up this championship. And in 2024, Herrin, with his 2013 championship, is still one of 22 champions that the United States has produced in Superbike competition. What a run from Josh Herrin, who set low expectations at the beginning of the race and said, I'm just going to take whatever it gets me. But yeah, he went after it here.
There's that great pass that he did to Bobby Fong going down into turn 1. You can see, parked that Ducati down the inside, controlled that pace, was able to get by. For this crew, what a day, what a year it's been for Warhorse Ducati. As you said, Greg, like a big family down there. 30 years, wow. 30 years. We saw that great retro bodywork and leathers and all that at COTA. of the old Fast by Ferracci that when Corser won the last championship for Ducati.
Now, Troy Corser, the last Ducati rider to win a Superbike championship, and who would have thought? But the race pace, you can see right there, lap 19, a 21.602, fastest lap of the race. And when the nerves were gone, and the conversation with Hannah was long in the past, with it sitting right there, Josh Herrin was not going to be denied and grab his 16th win, his 16th career win in the Steel Commander Superbike class. What a run, what a story. 0.4 of a second. We'll tell that story over Bobby Fong on a Yamaha and Loris Baz. When we come back, we're going to talk to your race winner and new national champion, so don't go anywhere.
Various points throughout the season, Roger Hayden, we've talked about Josh Herrin being able to continue the pace that he had session after session, race after race. Think about what he's been able to do here the second half of this championship season. He earned this title.
I mean, he just put a stamp on it, and he said that, you know, this would mean a lot more than a 2013 championship because some things happened and fell his way, and didn't really feel like he earned it, and it's bothered him ever since. But he came in this year ever since Brainerd, and he took this title. He brought the fight to him today. He did not have to win. You know, I just give Josh a lot of credit. It hasn't been an easy road for Josh to get back to being a Superbike champion. He had a factory ride. He lost it. He's been to Moto 2. It didn't work out. He came back, earned himself another Supersport, and earned himself another factory Superbike ride. That went away. And then again, he goes down to Supersport, and this was his goal, to go back and build himself back up. And Josh has been able to do that. A lot of times when you lose your factory ride, it's you don't get that back. And Josh has did that twice, and that's just through hard work and dedication.
Think about the season, 6 wins when you count the one from today, 13 podium results. Through the first 19 races, he didn't get that first win until race number 7.
And it's just like, even at Brainerd, you know, we mentioned then that, you know, with things that were going on, it looks like that Josh was really starting to get really strong. And, you know, he started winning those races. And, you know, on here I talk about all the time about confidence. And then he wins and then wins again. And the confidence just keeps growing. And just the year that he's had, and, you know, to go out and do what he did today and prove that's why he could have ran. He also, I think when Bobier wasn't leading, it relieved a little bit of the pressure on him, and he's seen where Cam didn't really have the pace to win. Then he could take a few more risks, but for Josh, you just can't take anything away from him. He's the Superbike champ this year, and he was the best guy in the Superbike class this year. The right guy won the title.
See all the congratulations from everybody over at Warhorse HSBK Racing, all the Ducati representatives that are here this weekend. That's one of the things that Josh has talked a lot about, that it's made him a better rider, having the support of that family, he calls it, all around him, the guys that are there to pump him up when he needs it.
Yeah, and every time you go down by that pit, and Josh is definitely at his best when he's having fun, when there's not a lot of pressure on Josh. And you see the gold championship helmet there. That's the best helmet of the year.
That one is amazing. He's got the #1 bib there as well. Let's hear from them and send it back over to Greg and Jason.
Welcome back to New Jersey Motorsports Park here in Millville, New Jersey. As celebrations across the board, Josh Herrin has been in this paddock for, boy, over half his life now. And there's a lot of congratulations going on around. But Josh Herrin with the victory. 0.4 of a second over Bobby Fong. Loris Baz in third, just a half a second behind. Then Cameron Bobier. Escalante in fifth. Cam Peterson and SDK. We saw that battle. Xavi Flores after an outstanding start in eighth. Benjamin Smith in ninth. And Ashton Yates in 10th place. Now let's talk about Josh Herrin and his championship run. As you know, it's his 4th career in AMA competition and his 2nd Superbike. It's the record, like I talked about, that 11-year stretch between the first championship and his latest, because there's quite the possibility this guy is not done winning championships at all. And then, of course, the 6 wins, 13 podiums, and he joins Wayne Rainey, Eddie Lawson, and Wes Cooley with 2 Superbike titles in their career. Of course, you know, we know that Gagne, Beaubier, and Matt Mladen's here as well. But this day is all about Josh Herrin, who turns that number 2 into the number 1, and he is with Hannah.
All right, Josh, it's been a long time coming. Congratulations after that battle at the front with Bobby Fong being exchanged here. Josh, just trying to get situated. There's a lot of people that want to talk to him. Josh, how much does it mean to you to win this championship, especially so many years after your last one?
Yeah, that goes out to that podcast, boys. That was, dude, I'm so happy my son and my wife, my dad are here. This is for Faraci, man. 30 years Ducati hasn't got a Superbike Championship. Come on, come on, come on. 30 years. This is nuts. I watched my heroes racing Ducatis growing up, and to get to do this with Faraci, to have a teammate like Baz here with me, it's, this is, man, I'm speechless. It's, I've had some of the gnarliest hate the last couple years, and I just wanted to prove them wrong. That's all I wanted to do. So thank you to everybody for rooting against me, because it fueled me. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate even the ones that were talking down on me. They helped me at some point through my career. So thank you to everybody that was a part of making this happen. Thank you to the entire
Presenting the number 1.
Thank you to the entire Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team, Bobby Scheck, the DeNaples, everybody involved, my entire crew, everybody, Ducati USA, Ducati Corsa, Chabati, Faraci, Rachel, Griffin, KYT Helmets, OnlyFans, Alpine Stars, Better Call Sai, GoPro 8, Good Boy Vodka. You know we're celebrating with some Good Boy Vodka tonight. I'm pumped. Just thank you so much. Thank you to AMA for continuing this. Thank you to MotoAmerica for an awesome series. Thank you to everybody involved in the broadcast team for putting us on air. And man, we're coming back next year.
Mike Pelletier on behalf of the AMA presenting the number 1 plate to your AMA FIM North America Superbike champion, Josh Herrin. Big round of applause, guys.
Outstanding, and he's going to hold that one up high. The number 1 plate again for Josh Herrin. There's a look at Geraldo Faraci. 30 years since he won it last and still involved in the program. And what a run for Ducati, and what a run for this guy. Boy, putting himself in elite company in the world of motorcycle racing. Our coverage from New Jersey Motorsports Park here in Millville, New Jersey will continue as Josh Herrin, Geraldo Faraci, and the entire Warhorse HSBK Racing team gets to celebrate. We'll have more coverage after this.
Watching the celebration continue here for Josh Herrin, the entire Herrin family. See Geraldo Faraci there holding that beautiful gold championship helmet.
He might not let it go.
He might not. Well, they were just taking it away from him. See the tears in his eyes, and now he gets his own bib as well. How cool.
I never ridden that. Take a picture of this, Brian.
It's great that our entire crew has all of this access to be able to see these moments up close and personal, bringing them to all of the fans watching along with us. These are special moments. Geraldo Faraci there.
Love you.
He'll take these memories with him, as will Josh Herrin, for a very long time.
You're making my life fit.
Hey, I just want you to remember me for Sunday night in Coda. That's it.
Now I remember for everything. Never forget you. Never forget you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
How special do you think that is for Josh?
Big time. I mean, he's talked about what it's meant for him, and you know, Josh is, you know, with things that, you know, there's been some tough years, and I think this moment is huge for him. And not only that, have his wife and his kid here. How many times has he mentioned he wanted to show his kid that he was a champion? And, you know, his Griffin's old enough now, he's going to remember this day, and just to have his family here, it's just huge to be able to accomplish a goal like that.
We'll have the photos to go along with it. For sure, Geraldo Faraci founding Fast by Faraci back in 1980. It was the first American-based Ducati factory team. In the late 80s, they were able to win 2 World Superbike Championships, 2 AMA Superbike Championships, and now getting a 3rd one with an American rider on board. How cool.
Just so cool. And, you know, for Faraci, I mean, it just shows how many titles he has now for so many years. It's just incredible that he's still a part of the team. credit to Ducati as well for stepping in and helping this team and giving them the support, because you have to have that support if you want to go fight and win a Superbike championship. You got to have a really good team, good support from your manufacturer. Ducati's really stepped up and helped them out, and that's why they got a title. I mean, it's a group effort. You got to, thank Bobby from the team. He's the one that put all those guys together, and took a lot of sleepless nights. Man, they've worked hard to build what they got.
See Josh, they're able to celebrate with Loris Baz. There's another double podium for the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati organization. Loris being able to get his third podium result of the season coming from that pole position. Imagine that the party from these guys at the end of this weekend is certainly going to be one for the books.
Also, this is a really good result for Loris, able to, that good qualifying spot on the front row and put himself up there in the fight for the win.
Josh Herrin has now been on the podium 9 consecutive times en route to that title. We'll hear from the other podium finishers when we send it back over to Greg White, Jason Pridmore.
Steel Commander Superbike coverage is brought to you by Steel Commander Corps, a leading steel building manufacturer offering expertise, innovation, and a dedication to quality. By Yuasa Battery, manufacturing in the USA since 1979. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Back in New Jersey, let's get right down to Hannah.
Second place today for Bobby Fong. Bobby, very hard-fought race at the front. Tell us about it.
Man, it was good. I didn't know if I was going to have pace today because we had 0 track time in the drive, but man, this wrench ADR R1 is it's been working so good. We don't know if we're coming back next year, but hopefully this gets everybody motivated to keep us on the grid next year. But I got to give it up to my crew. It's been a hell of a year. I'm happy to be here, and thanks to Dainese, thanks to my whole team, my whole crew is so awesome. So it's good. Hopefully MotoAmerica could hear this and wait for me for the baggers.
All right, Bobby's got a race to get to. Moving right on over to third place today, Loris Baz. Baz led some of those laps. You were certainly fighting for that first win, but to stand on the podium with your teammate who won the championship, take us through that race.
Well, first of all, congratulations to Josh, and just I'm so happy to him. I never thought I could be so happy for a teammate to win. It's like my brother just won the race, and like all the family from Warhol. So massive thanks to them. I know what it means to Josh, and yeah, it was a nice race. Then I was just trying to. We didn't know what to expect from the tires at the end, so I was trying to save something for the end at the beginning. Then when I saw Josh coming in front, I didn't want to mess up. So there was like a lot of things going through my mind, but I'm happy. Like we're coming stronger at the end of the season. I want to thank the boys from Ducati, Warhorse, HSBK, all the sponsors, because we had a lot of issue in Austin and they stored the bike a lot. It's the best I felt on the bike all year, so I just hope I can be back next year because we're just improving a lot and we make, like, I think, the best team you can imagine. So big thanks to all the guys of the team and massive congratulations, because I was there at the beginning of this project, and I just want to say that I love every single person from Ducati, Warhorse, HSBK, everyone in the team. They're just an amazing guys, and I'm just so happy and so proud of what Josh has done this year.
Congratulations, Loris Baz. Guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to have a great teammate like that. As Josh Herrin continues to celebrate the #1, we're going to continue our coverage after this break from New Jersey Motorsports Park, Steel Commander Superbike race #1.
Superbike Championship now wrapped up, but Roger, one title that is not wrapped up yet with one more race remaining is the Superbike Cup Championship, and Ashton Yates now being on the tear that he is on, earning 25 points. He has now closed that gap. He now has a 15-point advantage, over Danilo Lewis.
Yeah, and Ashton just kind of did a great job this last couple races, and he's put the pressure on Danilo, and unfortunately he had a crash today. Danilo did. He had one at Austin as well, so he's gave up a lot of points. So it's unfortunate, and Ashton's did a great job. But Danilo has race 2 tomorrow. He just needs to go out there and try to forget about the last couple races and try to go for a win.
Josh getting ready to go up onto the podium, taking his son Griffin up there with him. Celebration continues to see Bobby Fong still up there on the podium. Having that second place finish was a hard fought race for him today, and you could hear him in that interview. He was asking for more time. We could hear the bikes rev up for Mission King of the Baggers. They left pit lane for the sighting lap.
It's good to see Matt Mladen up there. It's multi-time, Superbike champion, giving Josh Herrin that title. So that's one of the guys that Josh definitely grew up watching win titles and was dreaming to be about. So it's really cool to see Matt up there and giving that Superbike Championship and trophy over to Josh Herrin.
We go back to some of the other podium results that Bobby Fong has had this season, 7 of them in total so far, and he hasn't been able to celebrate a lot of them, but taking that time today to do so.
Yeah, and he deserves it, and the team deserves it as well. You see Bobby's bike right there on the grid. He might be able to start from pit lane or at the back of the grid, possibly. Who knows what happens, but for Bobby, this is a couple times this year he's been on the podium from Superbike, and he missed the podium, and he got to enjoy it today. And I'm with Bobby. I really hope that team comes back. I hope they get some support. They're out here fighting with the big boys, and they've showed a lot this year.
Bobby now made his way out from the podium area to pit lane to get ready for this 9-lap Mission King of the Baggers race that will be next. Let's go ahead and send it back over to Greg and Jason.
Jersey Motorsports Park, Steel Commander Superbike Race 1 celebrations for Josh Herrin, his team. Bobby Fong on the podium, but celebrating that win and the #1 plate. So here are the championship standings. We still have one race to go, but there's only 25 points available, so you can see that the 58 between Herrin and Beaubier insurmountable, so that's the championship.
Still have a battle there for third too, Greg, so that was a big second place today for Bobby Fong as well, moving himself a little bit further ahead of SDK going into tomorrow.
We get to do it again from the Jersey Motorsports Park. What's the weather going to bring? We hear maybe sunshine, maybe rain, we don't know, but now the shackles are off. Everybody going for the final race win. Stay tuned for Mission King of the Baggers next, live for Jason and Hannah. I'm Greg. Thanks so much for joining us. See you tomorrow for Steel Commander Superbike Race 2.
Back with you here.